Hello, I'm Chris and I'm an amateur photographer and vlogger based in Cumbria in the northwest of England. And in this video I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started in vlogging. I wanted to create this video specifically for landscape photographers who want to get into vlogging and start sharing their experiences on YouTube. But much of what I'm going to talk about today will apply to any vlogger regardless of their genre. Chances are, if you watch my videos, you'll watch a number of other landscape photographers on YouTube, and at some point you've thought to yourself, I'd like to give that a go. Well, I hope in this video to give you all the information that you need to get started and some of the inspiration that you need to take that first step. So before we get started, I think I should just put in a little disclaimer. This video is about what you need to do to start vlogging and all the information that you need to know that will help you get started. It is not a video about how to be successful on YouTube. If you take a look at my view count and my subscriber count, you will know that I know naff all about being successful on YouTube. So I think there are three main reasons why you want to get into vlogging. The first reason is it's really good fun. So chances are, if you're a photographer, you enjoy working with cameras and doing post-processing on the computer. And making videos is almost exactly the same. The second reason is that it really helps you to create relationships with other photographers. So since starting YouTube, I've expanded my network of photography contacts, and I've also made a couple of really good friends. And the third reason is exposure. Creating YouTube videos is seen as being quite difficult and quite time consuming, which to a certain extent is true. And that puts a lot of people off. And therefore, really, to get any attention on YouTube, all you need to do is show up. These days you can shoot really high quality video on just your mobile phone. So when I started using this iPhone 5C. This is actually my old work phone. And it shoots full definition using the rear camera and normal HD on the front facing camera. And I use this up to about 100 subscribers. The other thing that you might want to do is invest in your audio. They do say that viewers can tolerate poor quality pictures, but if the sound's bad, they switch off almost immediately. So I purchased this. This is a Rode VideoMic Me, and it simply plugs into your phone and it creates a much better quality of audio. Since I started creating video, I've upgraded my mobile phone. Now, since smartphones were introduced, I've been with Apple right from the word go. But recently, Apple have really annoyed me with some of their updates. And so what I've done is I've gone over to Android. And this is a Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. Now, I will say this, I do think that the Apple phones, they have a much better operating system. The user interface is much better. But the hardware of this phone is absolutely fantastic. It'll allow you to shoot 4K video. It'll do full HD using the front-facing camera. It's waterproof, which when you do all your landscape photography in the Lake District comes in very handy because it's always bloody raining here. And the other thing is, the audio that comes off this when combined with that little microphone is absolutely fantastic. There's a couple of other things that you should consider getting your hands on if you're going to do some vlogging, start vlogging with your phone. First thing is a little tripod like this Joby GorillaPod, which I use to support my phone. And obviously the final thing is this little universal clip that I use to attach the phone to the tripod. So this is what my standard kind of vlogging setup looks like. I've got my GorillaPod, my universal phone holder, and I've got my microphone plugged into my phone. And I kind of hold it out like that, using the front-facing camera, shooting at full HD, and I can see myself clearly in the screen, and I get great quality audio off of that microphone. Now, I'm going to use this setup completely to do a small vlog, which I'll then edit later and take you through all of that process. But it's not the only camera that I use. So this is some example footage using my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus with the Rode VideoMic Me plugged into it. Now if you're using your phone, there's a couple of things to remember. The first thing is when you're talking to the camera, look directly at the lens. Don't look at the screen, because then you're not looking at your viewer. The second thing to remember is to put your phone on airplane mode. That'll do two things. Firstly, it will save you some battery because it won't be constantly hunting for a network. And the second thing is that it will stop you getting any interference, which can ruin your audio. When I reached 100 subscribers, I decided to invest in a little bit more video equipment. So what I did was I went and bought a Canon M10. I'm a Canon man, and so it stood to reason that I would go and buy another Canon camera. Very loyal to Canon, if you're watching Canon. And the M10 is an absolutely dreadful stills camera, but it does do a reasonably good job as a kind of vlogging camera. Now, it has a number of advantages. It's relatively inexpensive. The camera and the lens cost me about £300. And the other thing that's really, really good about it, it has a flip-up screen. So when I'm doing pieces to camera, I can actually see myself in the screen and make sure I'm properly framed. The disadvantage about using it is that it doesn't have an external microphone port, and so I have to use this. It's a Zoom H1 sound recorder, and so I record all of my audio using this and this lavalier microphone here, and then afterwards I have to try and sync the two up. But when I'm doing my photography, I like to keep my hands free so that I can work with the camera sometimes. And so this setup kind of really helps me to do that and gives me other possibilities. If you're vlogging and hand holding, it can kind of limit the kind of shots you're capable of taking. When you're vlogging, there's essentially two types of footage that you want to try and get. The first is A-roll. This is your main footage, essentially the pieces when you're talking to camera, when you're telling your viewer what you're doing, or how you're feeling, or what your experience is. The second type is B-roll. This is complementary footage that when it's cut in with your main footage will help you to tell the story. Ah yes, the story. Now, according to probably the most famous vlogger on YouTube, Casey Neistat, the story is king. Now, if you're trying to create compelling content that keeps your viewers coming back time after time, it can be very, very useful to try and tell a story as part of your vlog. Now, essentially, stories are made up of three components: a beginning, a middle, and an end, or the setup, the conflict, and the resolution. Now, if you're a landscape photographer like me, your story that you try and tell through your vlog can be relatively straightforward. The setup can be where you are and what sort of photograph you're hoping to achieve. The conflict can be the trials and tribulations of going about trying to get that image, things that prevent you perhaps from getting exactly the image that you want. And finally, the resolution can be how you feel about the image. Ultimately, was it successful and were you happy with it? So you've got all your equipment together, you've got some idea of the story that you want to tell, so what do you do next? Well, you're simply going to have to jump into it and go out there and do your first vlog. And I've got a few tips to help you get started. The first thing is to pick a location that you know really well, ideally somewhere that you've photographed many times before. This will allow you to concentrate on creating a good video, and the photography will almost be second nature. The second thing is to break your shoot up. So start by doing a piece to camera and then shoot some B-roll that kind of supplements that and helps you tell the story. And that brings me to my third point. Remember the story you're trying to tell. Stick to that story. Try and create a video that's about 5 minutes long. It's much better to have a fairly short video that's packed full of content than a very long video that drags on and on and ultimately ends up boring your viewer. So now you have all of the information that you need to go out there and create your first vlog. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go off and create a mini vlog using all of those tips that I've shared with you. And I'm going to use this setup. This is my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus and my Rode VideoMic Me. And I'm going to use this setup to shoot all of my A-roll and all of my B-roll. And then I'm going to take that home and I'm going to show you how to edit your vlog together. That's me finished shooting my mini vlog. It went okay, I got some reasonably decent footage. So now I'm going to jump back in the car and head home and start the process of editing that vlog together. Right, so it's a couple of days since I shot my mini vlog. I'm now back in my office and I'm going to start editing my video. Now I'm a Mac user, so I'm going to use iMovie. This isn't supposed to be an in-depth tutorial about how you can edit your video. It's more of an overview of the process that I go through to pull my vlogs together. So as you can see, I've already imported all of my clips into iMovie. I'm going to start with my A-roll, and I'm going to trim them all down to length and make sure that they're in the right order. Once I've done that, I like to add all the photos that I want to include. Now I like to use the Ken Burns effect, and I zoom in on the main focal point and then pull out to reveal the whole image. I now want to add the B-roll around the A-roll clips to help tell the story, but I need to be ruthless because I'm aiming for a 5-minute video. Right, so I've done that. I now want to add a funny bit at the beginning as a bit of an intro, and I also want to include a few outtakes at the end. Right, so now I want to add the titles and the captions for my images, and at this point I'll also include shot settings for every photo that I've included. Finally, I want to add some music to the video. Now it can be really difficult to find music that fits. I use Epidemic Sound, but there is a free YouTube library that might get you started. And that's my mini vlog completed. I'll show it to you in full in just a moment. All that's left to do now is to upload it to YouTube, and give it a title and a description, and to add a few tags. Now if you're a landscape photographer based in the UK, there is a Facebook group you can join where you can share a link to your video, and it'll help you to get a little bit of exposure and to get started. I'll leave a link in the description below. So without further ado, here's the completed vlog. I hope you enjoy it, and if you have any questions you can tweet me at ChrisSalePhoto. So I made it to the top. The top. Like I've just conquered Everest. Hello! This week I'm in the hills to the west of Ullswater, and I'm here to get a shot of Howtown. Stand behind the line. So as you might be able to see, I've got the telephoto lens there on the camera, and I'm zoomed right into Howtown, because there's a pier there where the Ullswater steamers dock, and I'm trying to work really quickly because one of the steamers has just left the dock, I think. So I'm going to try and get a shot with that. And I've got the long lens on and I don't want to touch it, so I've got my remote shutter release. So here goes. No one's buying anymore. I just got that shot off just as the steamer was leaving. Unfortunately, the steamer's heading towards Glenridding, so it's hugging very close to the shoreline, and it hasn't made for a particularly brilliant composition. I think what I would actually want is the steamer coming back and heading back up the lake towards Pawley Bridge. But God knows how long that's going to be, because at this time of year, a couple of days before Christmas, the steamers don't run all that often. So while I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next, maybe wait for that steamer to come back, I thought I'd show you where I am. So I am to the west of Halen Fell. There's the summit of Halen Fell. And if you come up here, you drive up the road from Howtown and you park by the church at Martindale, just here. And I've also been looking over here at these mountains and this kind of sticky out bit here. I'm wondering whether to go up there and take a shot from up there. The more I look at that bit there, I think maybe that's where I should climb up and see if I can't get a shot from up there. It's not what I'd planned. I wanted to shoot down at Howtown, but I think that might give really good views towards the valley of Martindale. So maybe I'll go up there. Now, there seems to be a path leading up there, but today I am not equipped for walking or climbing in any way, shape or form. I have got my walking boots on, but I'm wearing jeans and this rather natty check shirt. I'm not really all that enamoured with this shot, so I think rather than wasting the day, I am going to turn this into a bit of a scouting exercise and climb up that hill and see what I can see up there. Oh, so many times before, no one's buying anymore. So I've made it up here. Well, was it worth it? Well, what do you think? That's the blooming Lake District out there. It's always worth it. So I set this little shot up. I've got Bed of Fell in the background there. I'll be honest, I had to look that up. I've then got this little farm in the middle distance. And then I'm using these rocks here as foreground interest. So let's see how we get on with this. 2-second timer. And I've overexposed the sky. So that's just about it from me for this week. Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you a bit of an insight into what goes on behind the scenes and the amount of effort it goes into creating these videos. If you're going to give vlogging a go, why not make 2018 the year you start up your own YouTube channel? If this is the first time you've watched one of my videos, why not consider subscribing? And if you've enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Hopefully I'll see you next time, and until then, it's bye from me. Looking away from the viewer like that. The second thing to remember is I've forgotten. Don't look at the screen because then you're not really looking at the viewer. The second thing to remember is I've forgotten again. Oh, my arm is killing me. How does Peter McKinnon hold that bloody great 1DX thing up? Oof. He must have biceps of steel.